Deploying Node.js Express APIs on AWS Lambda, a complete step-by-step guide. This podcast is brought to you by Business Compass LLC. We are an Amazon Web Services advanced consulting partner. We build and migrate workloads to Amazon Cloud. Our website is businesscompassllc.com. Our phone number is 973-638-2228. Our email address is contact@businesscompassllc.us. Introduction: Why serverless and AWS Lambda for Node.js Express? In the fast-paced world of software development, serverless computing has become a game changer, allowing developers to focus on writing code without worrying about managing servers. AWS Lambda, Amazon's serverless computing service, is at the forefront of this movement. By deploying your Node.js Express APIs on AWS Lambda, you can take advantage of cost efficiency, automatic scaling, and reduced operational complexity. This podcast will walk you through deploying a Node.js Express API to AWS Lambda, allowing you to embrace the full potential of serverless development. Prerequisites: setting up your environment for deployment. Before diving into the deployment process, ensure you have the following prerequisites. AWS account. Create an AWS account if you still need one. Node.js and NPM installed. Ensure Node.js and NPM are installed on your machine. AWS CLI installed. Install and configure the AWS CLI with your credentials. Serverless framework installed. Install the serverless framework globally using NPM. NPM installed gserverless. Basic knowledge of Express.js. Familiarity with building APIs using Express.js is assumed. Step 1. Crafting your Express API. Begin by creating a simple Express API. If you don't already have an API, start by initializing a new Node.js project and installing Express. mcdr my Express API cd my Express API npm init y. npm install Express. Create a basic Express server in index.js. Const express equals require express. Const app equals express. app.get/rec res equals greater than res.send hello from Express on Lambda. Semicolon. Const port equals process.m.port vertical bar 3000. app.listen port equals greater than console.log server is running on port $port semicolon. Semicolon. This code creates a simple Express server that responds with hello from Express on Lambda when accessed via the root endpoint. Step 2. Integrating serverless HTTP for Lambda compatibility. AWS Lambda requires a specific format to handle HTTP requests, which differs from how Express handles them natively. To bridge this gap, use the serverless HTTP package. npm install serverless HTTP. Update your index.js to export the Express app as a Lambda-compatible handler. Const express equals require express. Const serverless equals require serverless HTTP. Const app equals express. app.get/rec res equals greater than res.send hello from Express on Lambda. Semicolon. Module.exports.handler equals serverless app. This modification ensures that your Express app can be deployed to AWS Lambda. Step 3. Packaging and uploading your API to Lambda. With the Express API Lambda ready, it's time to deploy it using the serverless framework. First, create a serverless.yml configuration file in your project root. Service: my Express API provider. Name: AWS Runtime, Node.js 14.x. Functions: app. Handler: index.handler. Events: HTTP. Path. Method: get. Now, deploy your service. Serverless deploy. The serverless framework will package your application, create the necessary AWS resources, and upload your API to Lambda. Step 4. Testing your Lambda function. Once the deployment is complete, you'll receive an endpoint URL generated by API Gateway. Test your deployed API by sending a GET request to this URL using a tool like Postman, curl, or your web browser. Curl https://your API id.execute api.region.amazonoz.com/dev/. You should see the response hello from Express on Lambda, confirming that your API is live and functional. Step 5. Creating a function URL for easy access. AWS Lambda allows you to create a function URL to directly access your Lambda function, bypassing API Gateway for more straightforward use cases. To create a function URL, follow these steps. Go to the AWS Lambda console. Select your function. Click on Function URL under the Configuration tab. Enable the function URL and choose the appropriate authentication type. Once created, you'll have a direct URL to invoke your Lambda function, providing easy access to your Express API. Conclusion: embracing serverless development with Node.js and AWS Lambda. Deploying a Node.js Express API on AWS Lambda provides numerous benefits, including cost savings, scalability, and minimal operational overhead. Following the steps outlined in this podcast, you've successfully transformed your Express application into a serverless service ready to handle production workloads. Embrace the serverless future with AWS Lambda and streamline your development process. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Please share this podcast, visit our website, and follow our social media links.